So with the pre-season almost finished and the first Premier League game just round the corner, let's see if this is affecting my team selection. Before I commence, I would just like to announce that my FPL Strategy League is now open. So boys and girls, make sure you join. All the details in the description below. So in goal, Man City's goalkeeper Ederson retained his position in my starting 11. Admittedly, City hasn't had the most impressive pre-season, only securing 2 wins out of 4. However, Ederson hasn't yet participated in the pre-season, with only a handful of first team players being involved. But like I mentioned in my last video, with his impressive stats of 16 clean sheets in 36 appearances last season, is enough to convince me to stick with him. Apart from the tough away game against Arsenal, Man City has a good run of fixtures, thus I'm still very confident he's bound to return some points. In defence, I've traded Alexander-Arnold for Robertson. Liverpool has made a convincing start in the pre-season, only losing 1 game. Furthermore, the rest has managed to keep a clean sheet on 4 occasions in which Robertson has been involved, albeit the majority from substitute position. However, my main reason for switching Arnold for Robertson is with Klein and Gomez back in contention, Arnold will be subject to increased competition for a starting spot. In addition, last season, once Robertson established himself as a regular starter, he managed to produce a goal, 5 assists and 10 clean sheets in 22 appearances, which actually accumulates to an average of 5 points per game, which in fact is joint top for an FPL defender. Liverpool have a decent run of fixtures, but do play a tough away match against Spurs in gameweek 5. Alongside Robertson, I've retained Bournemouth defender Charlie Daniels. The Cherries have had a decent pre-season, with only a single loss against Nottingham Forest. Last season, Daniels achieved 6 clean sheets, 3 assists and 1 goal in 35 appearances. For the asking price of 4.5 mil, this feels like good value for money, thus I'll be sticking with him for now. The Cherries do have a relatively kind run of fixtures, apart from the tough away game against Chelsea in gameweek 4. Completing the back 3 in defence, Cedric just about retains his spot. However, I must admit I am slightly concerned, as he's only just returned back in training last week. So I guess the question is, would he actually start gameweek 1? Has he realistically got enough time to be match fit for the opening game? I mean, there's no disputing the underlying numbers for Cedric last season suggest a big upturn. And with Southampton's opening fixtures, 7 of their first 11 being at home, 3 of the games being up against newly promoted sides, and in addition they only play against one side that finished above them last season, strengthens Cedric's case, or at the very least a Southampton defender. Moving on to the midfield, Sigurdsson from Everton retains his spot. However, Everton's current form in general is slightly concerning. Whilst you can't read too much into pre-season, nevertheless Everton is winless in 6, and have only scored 4 goals whilst conceding 12. On the positive note, Sigurdsson did manage to produce 1 assist, but with Robertson now in the picture, and slightly cheaper, this will no doubt dent Sigurdsson's appeal. But, could Sigurdsson be a good differential? What do you guys think? The Blues do have a kind run of fixtures, with 3 of the next 5 games being played at Goodison Park. Joining Sigurdsson is of course Mohamed Salah. In all honesty, I simply don't have the guts to drop the sky. Despite Salah being the most expensive FPL player, this hasn't deterred many FPL managers, with more than 50% ownership, meaning it's too much of a risk not to have him. Liverpool are looking very sharp in pre-season, they smashed the Red Devils 4-1, albeit against a weaker side. In addition, Salah has already scored 2 goals and 1 assist. His last year's stats were simply world class, scoring 32 goals, 10 assists in 36 appearances. Furthermore, Mohamed Salah was a fine example of a fast starter. For this season we can hope for the same, looking at the Reds' opening fixtures. Next, I've chosen to stick with Man City LEROY Sane. Only a handful of first team players have been involved in the pre-season, with LEROY Sane being one of them. Furthermore, he did score a neat goal against Liverpool. Last season he managed to score 10 goals with 15 assists in 32 appearances. With Mahrez now in the equation, Sane will have competition for the wide spot in the team. Mahrez did pick an ankle knot during the match against Bayern Munich, however did play alongside Sane in the Community Shield against Chelsea. In Game 1, Sane does face a difficult match against Arsenal, however he has scored in his 2 previous away meetings against the Gunners. In the last meeting he supplied a goal and assist in the 3-0 win in March. Completing the 4 in midfield, I've replaced Ederson with mid-priced Chelsea midfielder PEDRO. PEDRO has caught my attention, already scoring 2 goals in pre-season. It's clear that he's benefiting from the absence of Hazard and Willian, both of whom are linked with move elsewhere. thus he could be another good differential with less than 3% ownership. Last season he made 31 appearances, returning 4 goals and 2 assists. Apart from the home game against Arsenal, Chelsea has a relatively good run of fixtures, with a home game against the newly promoted side Cardiff in game week 5. Moving up front, I've replaced Austin from Southampton with West Ham informed player Arnautovic. Arnautovic has started the pre-season on fire, scoring 5 goals with 1 assist. His eye for goal has increased his ownership, with over a quarter FPL managers owning him. With a price tag of 7 mil, no other forward at his price has shown anywhere near as much promise. Although last season Arnautovic did fail to produce a single goal or assist in the first 15 game weeks, however, once moved up front his form massively improved, being amongst the top 5 in goals from game week 16 onwards. West Ham hasn't got the easiest opening fixtures, facing the tough away games against Liverpool in game week 1 and Arsenal in game week 3. Joining Arnautovic, I've stopped with Zaha. Zaha has shown promising signs, scoring 3 goals and 1 assist during pre-season. However, the Ivory Coast winger is attracting a lot of speculation, with Chelsea and Spurs apparently showing strong interest in the star man. Thus, I'll be keeping my eyes peeled on how the transfer situation unfolds, as this could potentially impact my selection. Last season he scored 9 goals with 3 assists in 29 appearances and was vital in Crystal Palace Premier League survival. The Eagles faced newly promoted side Fulham in game week 1, so I'll be hoping Zaha will get off on a good start. Completing the front three, I've retained my faith in Firmino. He hasn't featured much in the pre-season due to his World Cup participation, however he is currently the most owned forward, which makes him a safe bet. Furthermore, his all-round style of play is beneficial in terms of securing bonus points. Last season he made 37 appearances, scoring 15 goals with 7 assists. The Reds do have a decent run of fixtures, but do play a tough away match against Spurs in game week 5. And on the bench is Crystal Palace goalkeeper Speroni, Crystal Palace defender Patrick Van Aanholt, Southampton centre-back Yoshida, and Fulham's captain Kearney. They all made appearances last season, only Crystal Palace goalkeeper Speroni probably being the most player likely at risk due to only making 11 appearances last season. So there you have it, this is my post-pre-season team selection. I think Salah is most likely going to be captain. However, I wouldn't say I'm set in stone with this squad. My team is still slightly unbalanced. I've still managed to overspend in midfield and underspend up front, but this is heavily due to Mohamed Salah's 4 mil price increase. My main concern is if the likes of Aubameyang or Augero gets off to a flying start, it could be very hard to fit them in without taking minus hits, which I religiously don't do. Nevertheless, I do have premium players in every position, with Ederson in goal, Robertson at the back, Salah in midfield, and Firmino up front, so there's room to exchange like for like. So guys, before I end up, let me know what you guys think of my revised team. Do you think my first draft team is stronger? Would you go for Team A, or do you prefer Team B? Or maybe a mixture of both? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below.